So at 41, I quit my full-time position in medicine to spend more time with my family because I had 6 figures in cash flow. But as you all know by now, that was not my situation a year ago. A year ago, I was a burnt-out radiologist, had gone through a rough career transition, and I wasn't even close to financial freedom. And when I get asked what shifted in that 1 year, I look at it as 3 critical steps that I took that really helped me get to this point where now we are at 300 million in assets under management, right? So got to financial freedom in a year and then kept scaling from there. And I've seen so many successful entrepreneurs, investors use the same strategies. Our students use the same strategies to really, get to and hit those big goals and build a life of their dreams.
Welcome to Generational Wealth MD's podcast on financial freedom through investing in real estate. My name is Param. I'm a mom, radiologist, real estate investor, and mentor to others looking to start or scale their real estate portfolios. The goal of this podcast is to provide you with inspiration, strategies, and insight so that you can stop trading your time for money and live life on your terms. If you love the episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review.
We've already covered step 1, part 1 of that. If you haven't listened to that episode, go take a listen, where we talked about the first critical step, which is goal setting, and how multimillionaires and big achievers goal set differently. What we're doing today is going to be talking about step 2, right? What was the second step, right? After a decade of earning close to $500,000 as a radiologist, I only had about $2,000 a month in passive income. $2,000 a month in passive income. I was a saver. And if I'd continued to do what I was doing then, it was going to take me another 20 years to get to my $10,000 a month in tax-free passive income. My goals aren't huge. They were very basic numbers, right? But for me to get to that passive income, $10,000 a month of tax-free passive income in my portfolio, it was going to take me another 20 years if I continue doing what I was doing, right? So how did I change things around in 1 year? Let's deep dive about it. We're going to talk about key shifts in strategy and how I added momentum. When we spoke last time, we talked about goal setting differently. We talked about writing clear goals. We talked about having a really strong why, right? And I mentioned again how the why is super important. It's more important. The how is figure outable, right? And so when I started looking, when I had set these goals and I said, okay, wait, I do not want to be in this position a year from now. We're going to change things. The first thing I did was deep dove into my passive income numbers, right? And if you don't know how to do that, I got you covered. Come join us at the 10x'd Financial Freedom event in the fall. It's generationalwealthmd.com/event in lowercase. I'm going to go over how you figure out your financial freedom number. How do you set, and I will not say realistic, how do you set goals for what you want to achieve within the next 3 years, the next 5 years, and then we'll build out a personalized plan. But when I started deep diving into my passive income numbers, what I saw was that at that time, I was very passive in my real estate portfolio also, right? So I saw that in real estate, I was making 6 times the income, even being super passive in it. Once you factor in the 4% safe withdrawal rate for a stock bond portfolio versus 24% that I was getting in my annualized returns that I was getting from my real estate portfolio, I realized that there was a 6x difference over here, right, in terms of my returns. And so that's when the first thing I did was figure out, where I was, my financial independence numbers. And then I looked at how my portfolio was performing, and I saw this huge discrepancy in terms of returns, which was completely anti what we're traditionally taught. Because till then I was only looking at the cash flow from my real estate portfolio. And I was like, oh, well, a few $100s is not going to get me to financial freedom. But then I saw how much equity I built in those properties and how my returns were actually 6 times what I was getting from the stock bond portfolio, even being super passive, right? So what I started doing at that point was dynamic rebalancing of my portfolio. So I did not pull out capital from my stock bond portfolio, which was in my brokerage account, in my retirement accounts. I started investing heavily in real estate. Everything that I'd saved, everything I was saving for that next year, I started investing heavily in real estate, right? So the first thing was shifting my asset allocation. I did it through dynamic rebalancing. There are many different ways of doing it. And that was what was aligned with me, also because I did have the resources to invest in real estate, right? So the first thing is always going to be to have a plan. We talked about this last time, but even in goal setting, the most important thing is going to be to have a plan. And for me, the plan was to alter my asset allocation, because asset allocation actually determines 90% of your portfolio returns. It is not, did I invest in Nvidia? When did I get out of Microsoft? That's not what it is, right? It's asset allocation. And most of us high income earners should have about 30 to 50% in alternative assets. Like I said, the reason I did it was because I realized that I was getting 6x returns from my real estate portfolio, as passive as it was compared to my stock bond portfolio, right? And so when you start, and that's how I started. So when I set up that initial plan, I had a plan for shifting my asset allocation. Initially, I was just going to do it the same way I was always doing it, passively, because that's all I knew, right? And so, which is why I said the why is important, being clear about your goals are important, the how is not as important. I want you to be open to possibilities, right? But eventually I got more active in my real estate portfolio. And so I was actually able to, my returns were greater than 10x what I was getting in the stock market. But that's a different story. But what I want you to realize here is that even for those of you who want to be passive, right, who feel like investing actively in real estate may be overwhelming, even if you want to be passive in real estate, I highly recommend you so first of all, realize that even that is significantly higher return, right? And so I do recommend that if you want to learn more about investing super passively in real estate, this is where we talk about real estate syndications. That's what we do in gwcapital.com. If you go to gwcapital.com, you can book a call with our team. What we do over there is we actually do all the heavy lifting for you. And so you can stay super passive in your real estate portfolio, and you're still getting those tax advantages of investing in real estate, and you're getting significantly higher returns, right? So gwcapital.com, go there, book a call with the team. And it's important to book a call because what happens is that there are some deals that we can only bring to investors and members who connected with us previously, right? So if you don't want to miss out on those opportunities, and these are deals that we've vetted, where we're doing all the heavy lifting, we're executing the business plan, that is an option, right? But remember, when I set my goals, I said 3 years, and this was my plan. That's because I was basing it on a very passive way of investing in real estate, buying rentals, having a turnkey rentals, and having a property manager manage them. But as I went down that path, what actually happened is that I was able to shorten that time frame from 3 years to a year, because I started tapping into strategies that accelerated my returns, right? Give me significantly higher returns. The real estate professional status, short-term rental strategy, where I was able to shelter in 1 year, I was able to shelter $250,000 of clinical income from taxes. So that was huge. I was able to get 100% ROI on my investment in year one, because I combined some of those strategies with the BRRRR strategy, which is where you're rehabbing a property and increasing its value rapidly without depending on market appreciation, right? Forcing appreciation, and then tapping into that with the refinance, and essentially recycling the same pot of money over and over again, right? So that was the concept of infinite returns. These were things I learned along the way. So that 3-year time frame then got shortened to a 1-year time span, right? So the second part of the plan is to add momentum to your plan, right? So that's what I did. So I added momentum up to my plan. And when you think about adding momentum, and if I were to tell people how to do it today, I would say coaching is a big part of adding momentum. And so before I got to financial freedom, I did not have a coach. And so that was a missing part in my journey, which is why it took me so long to get to where I was, right? Years of doing it the wrong way. But I did take a tax course because I really wanted to optimize my taxes. And not only did I save tens of thousands of dollars in that first year, because I learned to pick up on things that my CPA, my accountant did not know to pick up on. But I also learned some of these strategies, like the BRRRR strategy, the refinance, real estate professional, the STR, the short-term rental strategy, right? So I learned a lot of those things, and that really added momentum to my journey, right? So coaching courses, they're super helpful because they shorten your time frame. And so we're doing our free live coaching event, 10x Next Day Financial Freedom, mid-September. And so if you haven't signed up, go ahead and sign up. That is a ton of value. We have some of the students coming and talking. So make sure you sign up for that event. It's free, it's virtual. There's literally no reason you shouldn't be joining it. It's generationalwealthmd.com/event in lowercase. So make sure you tap into that resource.
If you're a physician looking to grow meaningful passive income, did you know that you can do that by investing in real estate without having to find properties, analyze complicated numbers, oversee construction, or deal with tenants? In 2020, after working 10 years as a radiologist, I realized that if I follow the traditional method of investing in the stock market, it would take me until my 60s to be able to retire. So I deep dove into real estate investing, and by the age of 41, I had 6 figures in passive income from my real estate portfolio that allowed me to cut down to a day a week in medicine to spend more time with my young family. I've since gone on to help over 15,000 other physicians learn about earning meaningful passive income through real estate investing. And here's the best part, even when you invest in real estate syndications passively, without getting involved in the day-to-day work, you still get to benefit from 2 to 3 times higher returns, including tax-free cash flow day one. So if you're done with working harder, taking more call, and living frugally, and are ready to put your money to work for you, book a call with our team at gwcapital.com. We are constantly underwriting and doing due diligence on multiple deals in strong markets, doing all the heavy lifting for you. And we present some of these deals only to members we have connected with previously. So if you are ready to seize the opportunities present in this market and get off the sidelines, book a call with our team at gwcapital.com so we can learn more about your goals, walk you through the process, and get you priority insider access to our better deals.
But coaching is a big part of adding momentum. The second way to add momentum is accountability, right? Having accountability partners. And for me, again, in that journey that year, I did not necessarily have accountability partners. Since then, I have had both coaching and accountability. That's what helped me get to where we are right now as a company with 300 million in assets under management. But I did not, that was the missing part for me. Coaching and accountability were missing parts for me. We have members within our coaching program now who get to 6 figures in cash flow in the first year while saving 6 figures in taxes. And they're really able to, in the first year that they're even investing in real estate, and they're really accelerating their growth because they're tapping into coaching and accountability within the Creating Generational Freedom coaching program, right? So those two things are key to adding momentum to your plan. And the final piece that really helps with momentum is having the right teams in place. So I almost feel like even within our coaching program, we have agents for short-term rentals who are specifically in the short-term rental space, who specifically help people with long-term investors with long-term rentals or larger multifamily. And, they're almost like a second level coach. They're guiding you through the process also, which is why they're a critical part of our coaching program. And fortunately, I did have a team. I had friends who had referred me to their team. So I was able to tap into their teams, and it really helped me add momentum to my journey. So that's a critical part of adding momentum, right? And so essentially, I was working full time, raising these little kids during the pandemic without a nanny, with schools being shut. At one point, I was acquiring a property in Texas, and I was doing a rehab locally without a general contractor, which meant that I was sourcing materials, I was running crews myself, and I had no prior experience in doing this, right? And so, like I said, it's completely doable. You just need to learn the strategies. You need to know what the techniques are, learn the systems, and that's what the free event is about, so make sure you join it. But the key point over there is that, yes, you need a plan and you need to learn how to add momentum. But the third thing over there, the key thing is to prioritize these goals, right? To make them a priority. And so the reason I was able to do all of this, even though I was, new to rehabbing, I was working full time, I had little kids, is because of what I mentioned, because of that transition, right? That rough career transition, because of having faced burnout during the pandemic, trying to take care of everything myself, right? Taking care of these kids while working full time. And what happens to most of us is that when things are in cruise control mode, we're probably not motivated to prioritize investing right and building our passive income streams. But the way I look at real estate investing is that, you may not be in a tough spot right now, but we all have our fair share of lemons in life. And when life gives you lemons, I know you were going to say, let's make lemonade. No, we're making margaritas. And I want to give a shout out to my friend Madhavi Jain, who actually told me this. We actually made margaritas. There was this mastermind event we were at, and we actually, were crafting our own drinks. Anyways, that being said, when life gives you lemons, when you join this event, when you're learning real estate investing, all you're learning to do is to make margaritas with those lemons, right? And so the important thing is to prioritize this plan, sticking with the plan, right? And so this is why, if you're thinking, yes, I want to make it a priority, but I don't know if I can be active. I don't know if I have that time. This is why we have GW Capital. This is why we bring these vetted opportunities. We do all the heavy lifting, so you can stay passive and still tap into the lower risk, the higher returns, and the tax advantages of real estate investing. So book a call with us, with the team at gwcapital.com. We are doing the due diligence. We execute the business plan, and there are some opportunities that we can only discuss with people who've already connected with us. So make sure you if that's the direction you want to go, you hop on a call with a team. But again, it's all about prioritizing, right? Having a plan, adding momentum, and prioritizing. And I remember when I was doing that, at that moment, when I was acquiring in Texas and doing the rehabs, I had a friend call me and I told her what I was doing. And she said, hey, I want you to take it easy because I don't want you to burn out, because this can be super time intensive. Do you really need to do this? And so the part that I want you to see and understand is that when you're listening to this, you're probably thinking, wow, that must be a lot of time, right? But remember, when I was acquiring that out-of-state turnkey property, the entire process from when the property was brought to me to when I acquired it and had the funds transferred and the property was in my name and it was, listed and rented, that whole process overall only took me 2 hours for each property. And that's because I had the systems in place, because I had a stellar team, right? And this is what we talked about. We talked about momentum, having a team. But I want you to realize that when you do things the right way, you are able to really compress the amount of time you require for it, right? So it's not as time intensive as it may sound. And I want you to see that. And I want you to know that's possible, right? And also remember that, when I was doing those things, when I was not with the passive acquisition in Texas, but when I was doing the rehab myself, the reason I was doing it and I was being active in it was because I wanted to get those tax savings. Okay, that was the year I sheltered $250,000 of my W-2 income from taxes. And that's why I was putting my time in, because I wanted to, I was being compensated for my time in dollars, right? While I was building my portfolio, which would then become passive later on and grow exponentially, right? So be very intentional about where you're putting your time, all right? And then the other thing is about systems, right? When I did my first rehab, it took me 3 months to complete it. The next rehab that I did, again, I did it without a general contractor. It took me 3 weeks, and I was walking in there and wondering why I had nothing to do. When you put systems in place, you are reducing the amount of time it takes, and you can learn. You don't have to learn this through your own failed experiences. You can learn from other people's experience. So again, make sure you sign up for the event. If you are curious, you want to see how you can do this and how this can be a part of your reality, it's generationalwealthmd.com/event in lowercase. So prioritizing things is important, but again, really overcoming your limiting beliefs, your own limiting beliefs, is going to be key. So when you think about real estate investing, and I know this because it was true for me, you are going to say, I don't have the time, right? You're going to think, I don't have the money, or this is risky and I don't know enough to de-risk things. The same thing happens to me. For me, a big limiting belief used to be, and now I catch myself when I do this, was that I'm doing this alone, and I can only do so much because I'm doing this alone. And now after being a coach, after being coached, I catch myself and I say, I can always have partners. I can have strategic employees. There are so many ways for me to continue to, scale, optimize, strategize without it being taxing right? And so all of us have these limiting beliefs. And the next point that I want to make is, as you're planning, and as I was planning and I was implementing, a big part of what you're doing is also constantly working on those limiting beliefs and working past them, right? The first time you hit a roadblock, you will want to quit and stop. And honestly, you don't even at that point often don't have the bandwidth to take a step back and look at it for what the situation really is, and figure out a solution and see how, despite that, that's just a small bump in the road, right? And so coaching is critical, to help us get past our limiting beliefs. And so and again, this is where you want to surround yourself with the right people, right? You want to be around people who are doing similar things so that you are not trapped in other people's limiting beliefs, and you have people around you who can help you work past your own limiting beliefs. And so if you're super excited about learning how to be more active in terms of real estate investing, learn all these strategies that other physicians are employing to reduce their taxes, from their W-2 jobs using real estate, join us for our 3-day free live coaching event in September, generationalwealthmd.com/event. And if you're considering going passive, now remember, we have a lot of students who do both. The students in our coaching program who have short-term rental, they're self-managing, and then they also invest passively in syndications. And some of them are even syndicating their own deals. So there's so much you can do. But if you are considering staying more passive in real estate, then go to gwcapital.com, capital with an A, and book a call with the team so you can be notified and you can have priority access to a lot of the deals that we vet and bring to the community. Okay, so we've gone over goal setting. We've gone over how you build a plan and how you implement it, right? And add momentum to it, which is what I did when I essentially 10x my passive income, right? Now, the next step was really taking it to the next level, right? For me, it was about getting from that point when I was 41, where I had hit financial freedom, to where we are now, where we have 300 million in assets under management. It was never part of the plan in 2020, but it is about taking things to a whole new level, and that's what we're going to deep dive in the next episode of this podcast series about how I did things differently to scale to 300 million in assets under management. I'll see you then.